Before I get into the specifics of the questions, just give the audience an update on what is happening at Airtel size-wise and what its leadership role is in India.
Well, we have about 350 million mobile customers, wireless customers in India. We serve over 20 odd million homes. We are in the midst of a very rapid pace of rollout of both 5G as well as wired broadband. We have, in the last 12 months, had a historic amount of rollout of 5G. There were 7,000 odd towns in India. We cover all of them now on 5G. There are about 700,000 villages. We cover almost 50,000 villages as well. There are about 150 million 5G devices already on networks in India, and we have half of that. We are also in the midst of a big rollout of wired broadband. So we're doing about 1.5 million home passes every quarter. So it's a very, very large pace of rollout and adding close to 500,000 homes every quarter. We also serve our B2B businesses, which are the top 5,000 companies, plus over 500,000 small and medium businesses. So that's really the lay of the land.
Thank you. It's a big company for those of you who don't know Airtel very well. Gopal, how do you think telcos could influence the wireless ecosystem? What is their role in all this?
Well, I think in a way, it's a strange conundrum today because, I look at India. Not so long ago, 4G networks were rolled out, and whole new industries were built on 4G networks: ride-sharing, food delivery, e-commerce, and so on and so forth. Today, there's been a historic amount of rollout, and I would say for the first time, perhaps the telco industry is ahead of the rest of the ecosystem in terms of what it's done. We've had, this pace of rollout, I guess, I speak to the vendors, hasn't happened in many other parts of the world. But you still don't see applications because in a way, as Cristiano was explaining, 5G is capable of a lot. It's a supercomputer that we carry in our pockets now. But the applications that really run on the supercomputer are essentially browsing or video or chat, which are the same applications that were running in the legacy world. And the challenge, I think, is that if you think about what one single application that today gets used in 5G, it's really speed. And beyond a point, you don't need speed because for these applications, you really don't need any more speed. Some of the use cases, whether it's fixed wireless access or some of the enterprise use cases on private networks, they are still smaller in the relative scheme of things in relationship to mobility. So I would think that the industry needs to come together. Governments, application providers, device companies, and of course telcos, to really create this ecosystem. Because without that, the monetization of this technology has been kicked further down the road. I think that's the single biggest challenge. And we are working with several companies in India. We are trying to influence the ecosystem. But this really needs to move. We can't do it alone.
How much can India is one of it's the single largest country in the world today. With all of its infrastructure, its vendors, its software developers, is there enough strength, enough size within India to actually influence beyond its own territory?
I think India is doing a little bits and pieces. There are over 100 labs that have been set up in partnership with the engineering institutes. There are companies that are working on this. But this is a problem globally. This is not to do with India alone. I speak to operator CEOs around the world, and this is the single biggest challenge that the industry faces. So it's not that it won't happen. It's just that it has not yet happened. And I think it will come, but it's a matter of time.
What are your thoughts on, some people are saying that telcos have not digitized fast enough. And do you consider your company to be one of them?
Well, I think telcos historically, as they grew, created their own incredible complexity in their own technology stacks. Bespoke systems, different technology stacks, data infrastructure lying in different places, silos within the telco. And I think over the last 7 years, we've been really relentlessly focused on breaking that. So the way I'd like to think about it is that, at the core of it is really the data infrastructure. Without a solid data infrastructure, you really don't have anything. The way data is cataloged, the way it's accessed, the way it's measured, the way it's analyzed, all of it needs to be automated and really seamlessly done so that you can query anything that you need to within milliseconds. And today we're trying to put a Gen AI layer on the data platform in order to query some of the capabilities that we've built. But that's not enough, because if you think of customers, whether it's B2C or B2B, they look at everything omni-channel today. So it's the web, the app, the call center, the store, they're everywhere, and they move across seamlessly. So one of the major exercises that we went through a few years ago was to really say, how do we simplify our business? Because where we were struggling was we were writing multiple code for the same problem in different businesses and different geographies. What we've now created is really thinking about platforms. And let me explain what I mean by platforms. If you think of a customer's interaction with us, there are four things that they do. They either buy something from you, you bill them, they pay for it, and you serve them. There's nothing else that happens, and this is really true across the industry. So we have about 2,500 people in the digital organization. The entire organization has been pivoted to one of these platforms. And the consequence of this is that while it slowed us down initially, it's increased a lot of velocity. So we were able to move the same code across multiple geographies. For example, our CPaaS platform has gone to Nigeria. Our IoT platform has gone across to Africa. Our own billing platform, our own serve platform is now running across multiple businesses, and it's easy to extend them across because it's all modular, it's with administration rights and so on and so forth. I believe this is the foundational element for the telco to really start opening up new revenue streams, because you've simplified your core business. And if you think about partners, when they talk to telcos, they say, look, you've got great distribution, you've got great payments, you've got a lot of data. But the fact is that telcos struggle with all of this because it's all siloed. And I think this is really where we try to focus.
Take us through the 5G focus of Airtel and add the issue of AI.
Well, I think, like I said, I think we are in the midst of, a big rollout. And the government has created the right enablers. Spectrum was allotted within 24 hours. All of the spectrum was put on the black block, so the 3.5 gigahertz is what we use. We also have about 800 megahertz of millimeter wave. We're trying some experiments there with fixed wireless access. And like I said, I think there are almost 400,000 base stations today in India across the two operators that have rolled out 5G. So it's a very, very large pace of rollout that's happened. But the challenge remains, which is the challenge of monetization. I think on AI, I would say that we have been using AI, but Gen AI is relatively new. And Gen AI is, at this point in time, we've got about 29 experiments running within the company, but almost all of them are focused on efficiency, which is what most people are doing. And we still haven't unlocked a way to think about growth using Gen AI. Our AI models, of course, run a lot on our networks. We have our own self-optimizing network where we optimize, layers, power on the fly, reducing, shutting off sites where, based on traffic prediction and patterns. So a lot of that is par for the course. But Gen AI is a relatively new phenomenon. Like I said, I think experiments are on. And we believe that there are 3 areas that we want to scale, but all of them are efficiency related at this point.
When does that change?
Well, I don't know. I think it's still, I do believe there is a need because a lot of the medium-sized companies in India want to do this and want to find ways to leverage Gen AI. So maybe there is a role that we can play to bring some of this thinking to customers and monetize it. But it's still very early days, and we haven't seen any proof of concept yet.
Any reaction to what Cristiano said about 4G and AI don't make sense?
5G and AI?
No, 4G.
Yeah, 4G and AI clearly doesn't make sense, but I think with the capabilities that you have on 5G, which especially around latency, concurrency, which today need standalone networks and need a lot of the applications getting written, yes, AI will play a central role.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.